Hey, good morning, East Texas. Thanks so much for joining us on the CBS 19 Plus live stream. We're live on CBS 19 Plus on Facebook and on YouTube. And we're coming to you to give you a little update on what we're expecting for the upcoming week, as well as the few showers that are popping up across our area right now. There are a few that are currently moving into Smith County. I'm not tracking anything severe, nothing of concern here, just enough that you may run into a few patches of rain. Let me take a zoomed in look out here. There are a few scattered showers to the west of Tyler right now, moving into Brownsboro toward Bullard. You'll likely get stuck in some rain here soon. I'm not tracking anything severe and really not even any lightning out of this. Taking a look up to the north, there is another little cell that contains some lightning that's near Picton. It's moving off to the southeast. It should be moving into Hawkins here shortly, as well as into Gladewater within the next 30 minutes to an hour. Otherwise, that is kind of it. We're tracking mostly dry skies besides those few little scattered showers. Now, if you were out and about yesterday, you may have run into a few patches of rain, especially if you were headed out to our western cities and counties. That's why our estimated rainfall is so high. This is the past 24 hours. The storms that came through yesterday kind of went and followed these blue tracks that you're seeing on your screen right here through Canton into Jacksonville, Palestine, and then a little bit off to the west. That's where our radar estimates are putting rainfall between about 1/3 of an inch to a little under 1.5 inches there. Now, we got some video in from one of our CBS 19 viewers. This is yesterday in Canton. Take a look at all of that water that's streaming through. So lots of rain down there. We did get some reports of a few spots of thunderstorm damage out in the Van Zandt County area. So yeah, lots of storms came through yesterday. Thankfully, things are significantly calmer out there today. Now, there are still a few isolated storms. I showed you that on our radar. But if you look outside in Tyler, a lot of us are just going to see kind of a gloomy sky as we get started on this Monday. Lots of textured clouds out there, kind of a mix of all types of clouds. Temperatures are on the warmer end. We already made it into the 80s, and that sets us up for a very warm afternoon. Over the next several hours, we'll see our temperatures continue to climb. I think that we'll top out somewhere around 90. That's for the Rose City. So 90 in Tyler, 90 in Crockett and in Groveton. A few areas along and north of I-20 may hang on to the upper 80s, but overall it is going to be another hot and humid day. If you take a look at your feel like forecast, of course, tons of warmth out there with the humidity. It's one of those days when you step outside, you can feel a little bit of that stickiness in the air, that dampness. 98 for your feels like forecast in Tyler and in Longview. Could feel in the triple digits in Henderson and in Crockett this afternoon. So everything is going to be very much like a typical June day. Now, we are tracking a minor heat risk. I'm not expecting anything widespread for minor heat risk. That's mainly for sensitive groups, so the very, very young and the very, very elderly and those who are more susceptible to heat-related illnesses. Just make sure that you are drinking water if you're out this afternoon. If you're planning on going for a long run or a long walk, make sure that you are listening to your body so that you can avoid any heat-related illness. Now, today is Heat Action Day 2025. We are expecting a rather warm summer ahead. Now, one of the main things to know today is heat-related illness and what are the signs. The big ones, heat exhaustion and heat stroke. So if you have heat exhaustion, you'll likely experience some faintness or you'll feel dizzy, excessive sweating, cool, pale, clammy skin, and rapid and weak pulse, maybe even some muscle cramps. If it's heat exhaustion, you should get to a cool area and make sure you drink water if you're conscious, and of course take a cool shower sparingly or use a cool compress to cool your body down, but do that with caution so that you don't shock your body. Now, heat stroke is more serious. That's where you have a throbbing headache, you're not sweating anymore, you have red, hot, dry skin, rapid, strong pulse, and you could lose consciousness there. That is where you need to call 911. Now, today we are only tracking that moderate heat, or I should say that minor heat risk. But through the rest of the summer, things are going to get a whole lot hotter. So make sure that you know these signs. And we are in store for a likely very warm summer. We've seen our average temperature of the past several years kind of go up. If you look at the 1970s, you compare that to now, we're about 5.5 degrees warmer than we were back then if you look at our average temperatures. So kind of warm. Today we're certainly feeling that warmth, and that's all due to this area of high pressure that's sitting directly over Texas, and that is going to crank the heat. But as that moves off to the east, that opens up a window for a little low pressure system to glide off to our north. That will open a window for some scattered showers to pop up. Wednesday, about a 50% chance of rain, and that is set to continue with us Thursday. Friday, I think will dry up, but Saturday and Sunday, things begin to pick up ever so slightly. So here, let me walk through what we're seeing. As we make it into Wednesday, we may see a few scattered showers popping up, mainly after midnight. A lot of this is set to stay locked up north of I-20 as we get into the morning hours. I don't expect that much widespread coverage. By the afternoon, though, we could get a few pockets of rain popping up. It's going to be very much kind of an on and off type rain. I'm not expecting anything severe. We currently don't have any severe weather risk from the Storm Prediction Center, but you could get an isolated downpour, maybe 1 or 2 stronger wind gusts, but all of that is set to stay below what is considered severe. For it to be severe, it has to be at 58 miles per hour or higher. It's a very specific threshold. But all of that is supposed to stay sub-severe. So just watch out. You might need your rain gear that day. This is all happening because we have a cold front that's going to push through. And what happens with the cold front? It's this mass of cooler, drier air moving in, right? And it comes through and it scrapes along the ground and kind of uplifts all of the humidity that we're seeing. And when you have that uplift, that's how you get these storms happening. So that's what's happening on Wednesday. But of course, the cooler, dry air is going to come in and make things a bit more temperate as we make it to the middle of the week. So hot today, hot tomorrow. Things begin to calm down on Wednesday. We finally drop back to the mid-80s. A bit more widespread rain coverage, some cooler air. Honestly, it'd be pretty nice to be outside. Just make sure that you are staying aware. And of course, if you hear thunder, make sure you're inside. Thursday and Friday, things begin to warm back up. It'll begin to feel like summer again. By the way, we are officially in meteorological summer. That started yesterday on June 1st, the first official day of summer when you look at the position of the sun and the moon. That's on June 21st. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that for you. All right, taking you out to the tropics. We are officially in hurricane season. That once again, just like the start of meteorological summer, that started yesterday on June 1st. And we're really not seeing anything of concern out in the Atlantic, so that's good news. However, if you take your eyes over to the Pacific, I'm not seeing anything that is currently active, but we could see something in the next 7 days. It's this little storm that's near San Salvador. It's moving off to the west. As it enters this area that's shaded in orange, there's about a 40% chance that it could develop into something. So that would be potentially a tropical storm, potentially a hurricane. This is all according to the National Hurricane Center. We'll continue to keep an eye on this. Now, this isn't going to have local impacts to us in East Texas, but if you are headed out to the western coast of Mexico or to parts of Central America, just make sure that you are keeping an eye on the forecast. Now, in the Atlantic, we really don't have that much happening in terms of activity. Just a little storm system that is currently moving through the Caribbean and off along the East Coast. And a lot of that has to do with this layer of Saharan dust that we're tracking. So this layer of Saharan dust, it comes obviously from the Saharan Desert, and it's moving its way across the Atlantic right now. And that kind of keeps any sort of tropical development from forming. So for a tropical storm or for a hurricane, you have to be able to have this uplift and it be a very big system. This kind of cuts it off, creates a bit of a cap out there. So it's harder for these storms to form. Because we have that layer, that should suppress hurricane development for at least the next several days. Now, it's fine particles of dust that are lofted into the air from across the Atlantic Ocean. And of course, it suppresses hurricane activity. We could start to see that dust cloud make its way into East Texas sometime by the end of the week. Right now, we're zeroing in on that Thursday, Friday window. Now, what that means for us is we could see our air quality come down a little bit. Most of us won't really feel the effects of it, but if you suffer from respiratory diseases like asthma or COPD or bronchitis, you may want to limit your time outside on Thursday and Friday due to this dust cloud that's coming in. But the more widespread impact for the majority of East Texas residents is going to be very vivid sunrises and sunsets. So if you get outside early or late, you'll have a very beautiful view of the sky, and I hope you guys can see that. But otherwise, in the meantime, this is suppressing a lot of that tropical activity. Alrighty, let me go ahead and take you guys over to our 7-day that we can get a look. Actually, no, we're gonna go back and see. I see some questions. Alrighty, I'm getting questions about a rain cloud. Let me go ahead and get back to our live look at our radar. Alrighty, so we're gonna pull this up. This is a live look at what we're seeing outside. There is a little bit of rain toward Brownsboro, one moving to the south, just south of I-20 at the moment. And we have another little cell that's just toward White House. Nothing severe at this point. Holly, I'm getting questions about Holly Lake Ranch. Hold on, let me just get an exact look of where that is. Holly Lake Ranch. Okay, this is in Wood County. Alrighty, so this is the one that you guys are asking about. So definitely lots of rain out of this. This is all sub-severe. I've only seen a few strikes of lightning, and let me just put this in play for you so you can see it here. It's been kind of building, but it is weakening at this point. Not a ton of lightning. Usually if a storm is going to continue to hold or stay strong, you'll see lightning continue to build with it, and everything has been staying sub-severe today. Let me get a check to see if we have any gusty winds on this one that's near Wood County. Alrighty, this is actually, we wanted just straight velocity with this one. So this is going to track our wind, and we can see how gusty the winds are. Remember, for it to be severe, it has to be at least 58 miles an hour. We are shooting very far away from the radar site, so this will be slightly skewed. But it looks like our wind gusts are anywhere between 5 to 15 miles per hour within this cell. So everything is looking on the mild end, just some rain out there, nothing that is that concerning. Our Titan indicators were picking up on some sort of small hail that might be coming out of that system. Let me go ahead and bring us back to that radar. 1 second. Alrighty. Some small hail is possible. Let me go ahead and click on this cell that's near Brownsboro. We can see what our estimated hail sizes are. Hold on, let me bring it up. Alrighty, so it's moving at about 16 miles per hour off to the southeast. Maximum hail size is about 1/3 of an inch, so that's the diameter across the hail. I'm not tracking anything severe with this, maybe pocket chance hail, but remember that's the maximum. Some of that could be smaller, and some of us may not even see hail. Only about a 30% probability that there is hail within that system. Maybe a few gusty winds. Lots of rain certainly coming out of that, especially as we've had all of those showers and thunderstorms come through over the past few days. The ground is on the more saturated end of things. Since you guys are asking about it, let me go ahead and throw a track on. That way we can see where it's going. Let me take a zoomed out look. That way we can get a better view for you guys. Okay. Now this is moving at about 15 miles per hour off to the southeast. So Rosewood, that will reach you around 11:36. Kelsey, you should see rain closer to 10:45. A lot of this though is just going to be, you might need to turn on your windshield wipers. And honestly, if you give it probably 15-20 minutes, if you're waiting to walk into your car or walk out of your car, just give it that time, and then you should be able to avoid the worst of the rainfall, really. If you guys want to track this live, we do have a live radar that is streaming. Also, you can go to our website if you type in CBS19.tv, and you go to the weather tab, and you scroll down a little bit. We do have a live radar up there with all of the watches and warnings, of course. Now, we do have a few flood warnings that are currently active across the area. We see these a lot of times pop up after rain and as we enter very rainy seasons. Those are mainly in Deep East Texas. We may see a few pop up along the Sabine River over the next several days as we have some rain come through. Really, this just means the river is running very high and very fast. The bigger impact to this for this is going to be if you are heading out fishing, or if you're crossing any bridges, or if you live in a low-lying area that is next to the river. Just make sure that you are staying cautious and watching for any ponding on the roadways. Again, if you are heading out on the boats to go fishing, so just make sure that you are, of course, practicing proper water safety and having some sort of life preserver with you. That way you are safe, because it is moving on the higher, faster end. But again, we currently only have a few flood warnings that are out to our south. Everything along and north of I-20 currently is good to go. But we could see some storms pick up, or I should say some flood warnings pick up later in the afternoon. Alrighty, I'm not seeing any more questions on our Facebook chat, so let me go ahead and leave you guys with our 7-day forecast because it is the brand new start of the week. So here's the next 7 days. Today, it is going to be on the warmer side. We're going to track isolated thunderstorms coming through. Tomorrow, we begin to dry out, but it is going to be hot, 90 degrees. Make sure that you are drinking plenty of water and, of course, wearing light-colored clothing to reflect some of the warmth and heat and sunlight away from your body. A chance to cool down happens on Wednesday. That's when a cold front comes through, scraping up these showers and these thunderstorms. By the end of the week, though, we jump back into the 90s. Saturday is looking toasty at 92 degrees. Thanks so much for joining the CBS 19 Plus live stream. I hope you have a wonderful Monday.